This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2016, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Killmore by Martha Sweeney to make the story appropriate for all listeners. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided in the description below. Killmore, Book 1 of the 2-book series. Read to you by the author. Chapter 12, Laurie. It's a few days later, and I've yet to meet my new next-door neighbor. I pray that it stays that way. Quite a few more tourists have come into town, but nothing big or noticeable has happened. Kane and Mabel are close by, playing a little while I check on the plants inside the greenhouse. Today is a little warmer than usual, so I crank open a few of the upper windows to allow more fresh air to enter. With the tank top, cut-off jean shorts, and my puddled boots on, my body perspires as I work on the plants. The bees and I have a symbiotic relationship, so coveralls are not needed. The hive is designed where I don't have to open and scrape the honey out of it. They dance around in the air and even land on me as I repot a few plants and fertilize others with effective microorganisms while the automatic irrigation system starts up. After collecting some food from the garden, the dogs and I head inside to get away from the heat and have lunch. As I finish cleaning the dishes, Kane and Mabel stand at attention and whine. "What is it?" I ask them. Kane stands in front of me while Mabel takes the rear, staying close to my legs as I move away from the counter and grab my iPad to check the cameras now that the house alarm is going off. With the computer in hand, I watch. I can barely see the bodies of 2 men exiting a truck on the side of the road. Both dogs stay calm, waiting for my command, though Kane is a little anxious due to my nerves. I grab the closest gun that I have hidden in the foyer, ready and waiting as they approach my front door. The bell rings and the dogs and I stay silent. There's no way someone would be able to really hear us, not with the way my house is designed. I wait for them to ring again. One of the men's hands reaches forward again and the bell goes off. I'm kicking myself for not having a camera at face level, only placing it above their heads. The porch is too dark to see anything clearly through the peephole. I've never had anyone unknown or unwelcome come to the house before, so it looks like I need to make some improvements. Neither of them look up, restricting any indication of who they are. I place the iPad on the table to my right and steady my hand with the gun behind the door as I crack it open 2 inches. "What do you want?" I greet calmly. The 2 men who had taken several steps back from the door smile, causing my breath to seize for a second. My heart pounds in my chest at the sight of Mr. Hot Stuff. "Hello," they greet at the same time. "Hi," I return flatly, watching every move of their bodies as I study their faces. "You've got a beautiful home," the older gentleman states. I don't say anything. "This is Aiden," he continues, "my son, and my name is Paul." I remain silent. "We're new in town, just moved in the day we bumped into you at the cafe," he adds. "What do you want?" I question speculatively. "Did you follow me home or something?" "No," the one named Paul chuckles with a reassuring expression. "We were just getting more familiar with the town. Driving around and getting better acclimated with everything. We saw the few homes on this side of the lake after boating the other day and just wanted to admire their beauty a little closer." "That sounds creepy," I state. They both laugh under their breath and I study them. There's something else they want. "I'm a retired architect," Paul shares. "When I noticed your home, I just had to see it up close." "How the hell did you see my home from the lake?" I bite. "The only way you could have seen it is with binoculars, since it's away from the water's edge a bit and the trees block anyone's line of direct sight. Trust me, I know." "He did use binoculars," Aiden states calmly, followed by a sexy grin. "You got him on that." "Dad and I were fishing on the lake, and he takes his binoculars with him everywhere he goes. He likes to watch birds, too. I would say people watching is more like it," I remark snidely. "I just wanted to know if it would be okay to walk around the house for a second, take in its craftsmanship, and then we'll leave," Paul reveals. "What part of town did you move to?" I check, wanting to collect more information about these strangers. There's no way they're telling me the truth. "We just moved to one of the places on Lawson Avenue," Aiden shares. "Which one?" I press. "The Stanfords or the Ross's old place?" "The white one," Paul announces. I nod, but refrain from commenting. There's a white house on that street, but that doesn't prove anything. Finally, I ask, "How long are you staying?" "We're not one of the tourists, if that's what you're implying," Paul answers. "We're townies now." There's something suspicious about these men. I know it in my gut. I watch them carefully, noticing that they aren't carrying a weapon, unless it's tucked in the back of their shorts. They don't look or act like henchmen. Give me a second, I direct, and then close the door immediately. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? I slip an extra knife in my right boot since I already had one in my left, stick the Glock in its holster and wedge it behind my back, draping my shirt over it. After taking a deep breath, I open the door. I signal for Kane to go first while Mabel follows me. I lock the door behind us and make my way off the front porch where the men wait for me by the garage. I gesture for them to begin walking, wanting to stay behind them at all times. As they peer up at the house and make comments, I offer a fake smile and nod, all while studying their bodies. And Mr. Hot Stuff has a great ass. When was she built? Paul asks when we get to the first side of the house. 6 years ago, I lie, studying their expressions. Mr. Hot Stuff keeps checking out my legs and chest. I'm not sure if he knows he's that obvious, but he doesn't know I see him since I have my shades on. She's gorgeous, Paul comments. Who designed it? Me, I share. I did have a lot of say when the feds rebuilt it. Interesting windows, Aiden mentions. Indeed, Paul agrees. I don't comment. They continue to remark on the house and the layout of the pathways, plants, and patios as we round the back to the other side where the opening to the greenhouse resides. I watch them carefully, wanting to pick up on any little movement or behavior that would reveal their true intentions. They're definitely not someone's goons. They would have given something away by this point. There are only two options of who they are and what they want. You grow your own food, too, Paul says in amazement. May I see? I unlock the door and usher them inside first. Your dogs are well trained, Aiden mentions. I nod. How long does the food last? Inspects Paul. All year, I inform. You've got a wonderful variety, he adds. How does it hold up in the winter? Good, I reply, not sharing anything else. Interesting choice in material for the windows, Paul says. They're bulletproof, aren't they? I remain silent for a second, carefully choosing my next words. Who are you? My hand reaches around my back, ready to retrieve my gun at a moment's notice. What do you mean? Paul inspects. Most people wouldn't know that the windows are bulletproof, let alone think to mention or ask such a question, I state. So, who the fuck are you two? Choose your words wisely. I'm just an old man, replies Paul, who studies all types of materials in my line of work. Most architects wouldn't be able to pick up on that, I mention. So, you have one more chance. Who the fuck are you? Laurie, Paul greets. My hand snatches my gun and aims at his head. I never shared my name with either of you. Kane and Mabel growl, taking a more pronounced protective stance, placing themselves between me and the men. Easy there, Paul suggests, looking between the dogs and me as his hands slowly move up to his chest, palms facing me. Paul, Aiden says, tell her. We're federal agents, Paul announces. I eye him, not trusting his words. What the fuck do you want? We were hoping you would assist us with something, Aiden shares. The only assisting I'll be doing is escorting you off of my property, I remark. Laurie, Aiden calls. Don't, I snap. You and I both know that you're supposed to present who you are immediately. Laurie, Paul calls. Unless you want a fucking bullet in your goddamn leg for lying and trespassing, I suggest you both turn around and vacate my property. If you even dare to come back, I will shoot you. Got it? Neither of them say anything as they exchange some kind of nonverbal conversation between them. They slowly back away, shifting in the direction from where they came. The dogs and I follow them as I keep my gun trained on them and eventually their truck as they get in it and drive away. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full, unabridged version, you can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find a link in the description as well. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.